Great. Welcome, everyone. I want to welcome you to segment 3 of our Little Leaders Career Exploration Series. Tonight, we are focusing on arts and the aesthetics. We have a great lineup of people here tonight that are ready to share about their passion, about their professions, and it's very diverse tonight. So I'm excited to introduce these people to you. People are all friends. Each of them have a lot to bring to the table. I'm excited to hear what they on tonight. Before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Nikki. I am the founder of Little Handstick Arts. I'm kind of the brainchild behind this organization and this segment. I have a wonderful team that I work with, and I have a co-host on tonight that I love. I love all my co-hosts. I love this one as well. And I want her to introduce herself. Tell everybody who you are.
My name is Lauren.
A little bit louder.
My name is Lauren.
This is my Lauren. Tell her
I'm in first grade.
she's an excellent first grade student, and she happens to be the comedian and the singer, the actress of our family. So I thought this was very appropriate for her to co-host on tonight, and I hope that she will pay really good attention because I want to get a lot from what you all hear tonight. Okay. I'll share what our mission of arts is really quickly, and the mission of our organization is to develop little people into servant leaders who think beyond themselves for the greater good through explicit and intentional opportunities for character development, selfless service to others, and community-based volunteering. That is the mission of our organization. So we do a lot of, even during the pandemic, we've continued to serve. We've done a lot of giveaways where we rally the community to do safe serving, as I call it, safe serving. You are more than welcome to donate, and all the items that you donate, um, where we give them back out to the community. And mostly we've been serving, so that's where we funnel most of our volunteer efforts and our support in that direction. And it's just been an awesome experience for everyone that's part of our organization. The purpose of tonight and the purpose of this series is, for me as an educator, I believe in exposure, I believe in intentionality. Um, so the purpose of tonight is just to drive home intentionality with parents for their children, to learn how to plan now for later. You know, you don't just stumble over and upon a good future, you really plan for it. So it starts now. It does not start in high school, it doesn't start in middle school, it starts now. And so I would love for all of you just to be as honest and open as you can with the parents. And when we're questioning and that answer for our, you know, if you're reaching parents and that will plan for the future. So with that said, I would love for you to share who you are and just tell a little bit about what you're bringing to the table tonight. Start with Walter.
Hey, greetings, everyone. So my name is Walter Wally Jennings. I'm a spoken word artist and poet based out of Tampa, Florida. I have actually been performing for around 20 years, a long, long time ago. And around 2001, I started actually creating venues for other people to share and perform their work as well. So I found that it was not only important for me to share my voice and my work, but to provide a platform and a place for other people to share their work as well. So really excited to be here for this conversation tonight.
Thank you for joining us. All right, Tori.
My name is finger partner, and we call it Jennings. And I believe that I have found my in starting into an adult and in my community field. So I honestly, I'm just so happy to be able to live every day fulfilling my passion and imparting into young lives and lives that I come in contact with.
Thank you. Ms. Jenn.
Hi, I am Jenn Weeks. I am a stand-up comedian. I've been doing comedy for over 10 years. I am also a host and a radio personality on the Power Up with Pastor Terry. I do a segment called So Did You Hear? And I also do acting too.
Thank you for joining us. Hey, Tiff.
Hello, everybody, and nice to meet you, Miss Lauren. Thank you for being with us tonight. I am Tiffany Wright. I also go by MissDevotedTiff. I am a writer slash short filmmaker, and I also do choreography. I'm a student right now to learn how to do more of those things at Savannah State and get my bachelor's in fine arts. And also by day, I'm a delivery woman.
Thank you for sharing. All right, LaTavia.
Hi, everyone. I am LaTavia Dawson. I am the owner of Fabulous Faces Makeup. I am a makeup artist here in the Jacksonville area, and I also travel. I've been a makeup artist and in the beauty industry now for the past 14 years. I'm also a licensed esthetician. I am currently also in school obtaining my bachelor's degree in business management because I'm an entrepreneur as well. Yeah, and I mentor young girls. So I'm thankful to be a part of this program tonight.
Thank you. He's actually on the dean's list, if I'm not mistaken. He is kicking
Yeah.
butt in school.
Thank you. Yes.
Exceptionally so. I am so honored to have you know, I've known you all for varying amounts of time. I've known Tori since ninth grade. We actually were in an art class together. And that was a wonderful experience, but we were, connected in the spirit. We've been friends ever since. I met, Walter, I think in 2001. Tiff, I've known since, I think, middle school. We went to middle school together, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we did. Southside and Inglewood.
And LaTavia actually did my makeup a few years ago for my birthday photo shoot. I did a birthday photo shoot, and she was just excellent, sweetheart, and we stayed connected. So Jenn, I met a few years ago, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. She did stand up for the church I attended at that time, and so I've known everyone for varying amounts of time. Wonderful, wonderful people. So I'm excited again to have all of you on tonight. All right, so we'll get started with our questions. The first question, what were some of the hobbies that you engaged in as a child that contributed to you becoming your current self? So your current profession or your passion, what were some things that you did as a child that lent themselves to that? Anybody could jump in, just random.
I guess I will. I started out praise dancing for as long as I could remember. And then as I went into middle school and high school, my after school programs allowed me to be in plays and to do dancing. And during school was my first time choreographing something and my first time writing a play. So definitely was my extracurricular activities that did it.
I was going to say I wouldn't call it as much of a hobby as much as it was a demand. As a child that was made to go to church and participate in the Christmas play, in the Easter program, in Vacation Bible School, and all of those things, what they did was they created a learning how to get comfortable with speaking in front of people, with learning how to have confidence and being able to share. And I come from a very loud family, and I'm the quietest one in my family. And so growing up, I was always the quiet one. Yeah, so you can just imagine my family. But so what was it is so it's actually a surprise to not only other people, but to myself that I do what I do as it relates to poetry and speaking publicly, because that's not my nature. It's my family's nature. And apparently it was something that was inside of me that I didn't even know. But that's why having those type of childhood activities are so important, because they birth out a lot of things that you're not even aware of. So for me, I can trace back as early as, elementary school and even preschool years of having to participate in church plays and productions that really begin to plant the seed for what I'm doing now.
That's so cool. I think this room is a church room. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like we come from that background. Just like Walter and Tiffany's already shared, or Jenn and lady who I just met, Miss LaTavia.
Yes.
We come from a church background. So when Walter talked about being thrown out there, I think for me also that was a secret ingredient of essence. So what we had to do in church, me standing and watching my mom and her sisters, who were the Smith sisters at the time, at 3 years old, and hearing them sing harmonies and arrangements, and me just standing up there or crashing a performance of theirs. It was, in essence, I believe that we have possessed as creators that can't be necessarily taught. It's an instinct. It is it's a spark within us, I believe, that gives you that identity of what makes you amazing as a creator. So that was me too, singing and getting thrown out there. I didn't know I could dance, but I was thrown out there too, dancing and the performances and Easter and all of those programs. So I would like to say for all of my young babies out there that are in the church setting, look at it as an experience that no one else can have. No one else can learn that. You'll be 4 or 5 years old and you have years of experience with performing arts, and they're like, well, how are you 18 and you have 18 years of experience? Well, it's the setting. So that's my piece I wanted to share.
I'm a little different. I did not. No, you go first, LaTavia.
No, go ahead. You already started. Go ahead.
Okay. I did not have the church background. Most of the stuff I did, I kind of did in secret. Cause I'd be home thinking and it'd be like, girl, shut up. Or so most of the stuff I did in secret. And one of the things that I did a lot was write, just creative story. And that still sticks with me now. I can look at a person, I'll come up with a backstory for them. It could be completely wrong, but that's my imagination. It was always going and roaming. So I did that a lot, wrote stories, just fantasy stories and things like that. That's one of the things that I did as a kid. Just very imaginative and creative. In my mind, nobody else knew.
I also didn't have really hobbies that was geared towards makeup or beauty. For me, I was always put into leadership things, and so it was a talent and a gift that I had that I wasn't aware of. But I always loved to see my mom getting ready to go out with her girlfriends, putting on her red lipstick and things of that nature in the mirror. And it always intrigued me. And then, as I grew, I always was into beauty and fashion and putting outfits together and looks together and planning my grandmother's closets and things of that nature. But there wasn't any hobby specific to makeup as it may be now.
I mean, I was the same way. Plays. I got into writing. It wasn't anything that I thought I was good at, but lo and behold, I'm actually good at it. I found out in high school, scoring on FCAT, Florida Wrights, whatever it was at the time, getting awards, stuff like that. So you don't really know, but for me, my writing side was enhanced and brought about by my mom. My mom brought me my first diary, and she just told me, write whatever you think. And that was like revolutionary for me because I stopped. And that was in 1990, I believe. She got me that diary and I filled it up. And then she just kept buying me diaries. She read them. I hated her for it, but whatever. But she just kept buying me diaries, and those turned into stories. Those turned into papers in college. Those turned into short stories, posts on social media, and now they've turned into a book that I am on the verge of finishing and releasing. So thank you.
Yes,
So,
Yeah,
you just never know
awesome.
that the opportunity comes in. And I would like to just encourage parents, like, this is for that intentionality. When you see your baby showing a sign of something, like, encourage that, nurture that. And they may not even go in that direction, but it's time for exploration. Let them explore, let them find what they like, what they don't like, and go from there. So, thank you all. Lauren's going to go with our second question. But
What character traits do you think are necessary for your profession or passion?
I'll repeat it for you. What character traits do you think are necessary for your profession or your passion?
Well, I'll go for if you're into the creative realm of like making up dances or writing and telling stories. I think it's better if you have an expressive personality. Like if you're a person that somebody asks you how you feel, and that child is just, oh, when they get home from school, they're just trying to. And then when we was in the lunchroom, and then he was like this and he was like that. If a child that's like that, that's something that's good if you're a storyteller because you can translate, your story into whatever art form you choose. So definitely, if it's a child that's expressive. That is a good characteristic to have if you're going to be in the arts and aesthetics, especially in my realm of choreography and writing.
Thank you.
I would definitely say making sure character traits are, for me, making like leadership ability, like your ability to be a leader, your ability to, if you notice that your child is into colors and art, paint, um, can draw very well, or just again being in the beauty industry, you kind of for me it's all aspects. So it's hair, it's makeup, and it's fashion. So if you notice that they like to put certain outfits together and certain looks in there, they love to do their hair different ways and things of that nature, and they're very outgoing and expressive. I feel that definitely leads to someone who wants to be a makeup artist or in the beauty industry.
I think another character trait that I grew up not really liking was patience and discipline. Was not my favorite, but I had to kind of learn to enjoy how that process works. So I think if you can also learn how to work on your practicing and rehearsal part of it, and of course being disciplined in what you love, I think will help you really good at what you're doing creatively with performing arts and writing and all of that. It does time and it takes practice. It takes mistakes and not doing too well, initially, and it just takes that, that endurance to just keep working at your craft, keep working on being better at it. So discipline and that's the practice.
Yeah, piggybacking off of Tori's comments, diligence and resolve as it relates to being willing to be vulnerable. When you talk about poetry and spoken word, whether it's writing from your own experience or talking about how you feel about somebody else's experience, and being willing to dig and to really carve out an idea and a piece of writing. And we separate poetry and spoken word because there are poets who write who don't necessarily share their work publicly, and that's okay. Knowing that you can write and never stand on the stage and share your work, and that's completely fine. But then there are those of us who decide to take our work to the stage, and that requires a different a different level of resolve where you have to be fearless from the standpoint of know that you're doing this because you believe that your voice is powerful and important, and you have something that people need to hear and say. And even if it does not go well, the victory isn't in you being perfect in what you're saying. The victory is that you stood up there and did it. Like, that's the most important part. And that's being diligent and having the resolve about what it is that you're doing as it relates to poetry and spoken word.
I would say, as a comedian, one of the things that would stick out is being able to find the funny. You know, sometimes it's always that person, and sometimes that child that can find the hilarious in any situation. So I think that was one of the things that sticks out, being able to have that sixth sense. That I call it the comedic sense. So you see things differently, and you can find a way to spin it to make it funny. So definitely having that, being able to find the funny, I think, in any situation.
That's good. Hi. You want to go to the next part?
What's one thing you wish people knew about your passion or passion?
What's one thing you wish that people knew about your profession or your
That's a
I
great.
guess I'll go first again.
Oh.
Definitely, I wish one thing that people knew is how much goes into preparation before the final product, especially with my realm of like filmmaking, especially if you self-produce or self-tape. There's so many details involved. It's not just, putting up a camera or calling a videographer and going, but from attire to the blocking to what filter you want to use in the camera to the casting and pulling in other creatives like LaTavia, and the whole scheduling piece of it. Even if it's like a YouTube video that seems like maybe it didn't take a lot before it, that's typically not the case. And it's supposed to look effortless. It's supposed to look organic, but usually there's a lot of front planning involved. So anybody that's friends or family with that person, their support during the process, pre-production, is almost as important as when the product is released and you want people to like and share and comment, like, because that's when you are freaking out or stressed, is the lead up to the D-Day of whatever the project is. So if you have little creatives that, want to do their little YouTube channel and things like that, definitely support them pre-production. That is always appreciated.
I think that's really good. I think me and Tiffany were speaking at the same time. One thing that I wish people knew about performing arts, music, singing, was really the endless possibilities with it. I think there has been sometimes a negative thought on the struggling musician, the struggling artist, that premise of, man, I don't know if I want my kid to be a singer or a dancer or a poet or any of that. I think it's the misconception that there are grants out there, there are silent investors, there are radio syndications, like Miss Jenn shared. She has a segment on Terry. I had the amazing opportunity to do the thing at radio show. So every quarter you get a how can I say this? It's monetized. You get credit for that. So there are so many endless opportunities with the performing arts that a lot of people really do not realize. You don't necessarily have to be the Beyonce or the Jay-Z of the world, or have this major platform with millions of followers to make a living at what you do. There are different paths of getting your art out there and getting paid for it. That's my piece.
I want to piggyback really quick off of what Tori said, because that's one of the battles that I have in working with young people and their parents, and the perception about the arts, that there isn't any money in it, that there aren't any opportunities, and that couldn't be further from the truth. And in my art particularly, speaking, being able to write well and being able to speak in front of people is something that's going to be pertinent to whatever you want to do, even if you want to own your own business. Like, those are two things that are going to be important for you to have really good, strong skills in, no matter what you want to do in life. So I spend a lot of time sharing with parents that no, that's something that is going to be important for your child, no matter what they want to do. And I wanted to share a quick story. I'm getting older, so I'm at that age now where I got a story for everything. But I was asked to do a show, and as was mentioned in my bio, I'm a minister as well. So what I do is not only part of my vocation, but it's also part of my ministry, which means that sometimes I do things that I don't necessarily want to do, and sometimes I say no to things that I really want to do. And so this particular time, I was asked to do a show, and I really didn't want to do it, but I was told that I needed to do it. So I'm complaining the whole time about, like, literally on the way to this show, like, I'm going to do the show, I'm not getting paid for it, I got bills, got stuff coming up, so I'm just going in. And so get to the show, there's like 30, 40 people there, not a whole lot of people there, did the show, it was great. After the show, one of the women that was there, she sent me an email, she said, "Hey, Wally, really enjoyed you, always enjoy your work. I own a company, and quarterly, our company has different motivational speakers come in to speak with our employees. We would like to fly you down, have you speak to our three groups and share some of your poems, and we'll feed you and fly you back. You'll be home in time for dinner. We'll pay you $1,500." Like, from that experience of just, again, being true to the art and just honoring the process, that opportunity opened up. So I couldn't say more, agree more with what Tori was mentioning, but that's not my one thing. The one thing that I wish people knew about my art is that I wish people understood how powerful and valuable their words are. I wish people wouldn't take what they say so lightly and for granted, because everything that you say is either creating something or it's either killing something. Everything that you say is building something up and tearing something down. And most of the time, it's in alignment with your path and your purpose. So I wish people really understood and knew how powerful their words are, and they would be more mindful with them.
Wow. I would say for what the one thing I wish people would know is that it's comedy. It's funny, but it's serious, because you don't know who is in that audience. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're going home to. So for you to have this great talent and ability and to be able to make them laugh and lighten their load is amazing. And also, with it being serious, your business side needs to be just as strong as your stage side. So it's twofold, like Tiffany was talking about earlier, being more than just, it's not one faceted. You need to make sure your business side is just as strong as the stage side. So
I would like others to understand about my profession is that it's a lot of hard work, but it's good work. So it's a lot. It's not just the glam side of it. Oh, makeup, and you get to do this. It's late nights. It's early morning. It's sacrifice. But for me personally, it is the opportunity to allow a woman to realize the beauty that she truly possesses. So it's not just makeup. It's much deeper than that. I'm servicing women who may not feel good about themselves, or maybe who's going through something. And I'm big on, when you look good, you feel good. And so sometimes looking good makes you feel much better. I can throw on a red lip if I'm having a bad day, and it makes me exude a little bit more confidence. It lifts my head up a little bit more. So I just wish people would truly understand that it's deeper than just makeup. You know, it's a lot of hard work that goes into it, but it's well worth it.
This is really good dialogue. Thank you all. Thank you so much. All right. What are the educational requirements or certifications or trainings that are needed for your particular area of expertise? So what if, we have Lauren, that wants to get into makeup artistry, that wants to get into dancing, that wants to, what are there requirements? And if so, what are those?
Ideally, with makeup artistry, people always think cosmetology license. In the state of Florida, there is no makeup artist license at all. So you have to be licensed either as an esthetician or as a cosmetologist. And that's really more so for tax purposes, right? They want to control our money and make sure we're paying Uncle Sam. But they will not give us as a makeup artist our own license. So we do have to do sometimes a little bit more as far as the licensing to ensure that we are following your state guidelines and rules. But I personally am 100% self-taught. So I never went to school as I did the esthetician, but to learn how to actually apply makeup, I am self-taught. I've never been to school. Now there are classes that you can take. Me as a makeup artist, I do classes, and you have other professional makeup artists that offer classes. There is a makeup school in Miami, but again, you're just getting a certificate. So you're not actually learning how to do makeup. So you do have to be licensed, but as an esthetician or a cosmetologist, but there is no makeup degree or program or anything like that.
For my area, for choreography and for writing, there aren't any specific certifications required to be successful in those fields. It can only help you. So for the writing side, when you're able to say you're a member of the Screenwriters Guild, that opens so many doors as far as access to literary agents, knowing about the projects that they're looking for showrunners and writers, maybe before anybody else. You don't have to wait to hear from it about it word of mouth. And then for choreography side, if you want to teach dance and choreography, pretty much at any academic level, it would help if you got a certification in dance education. Again, not required, but it only helps. And like one of the reasons I returned to school, like a little of my background, I got my first degree in 2008 in biology. So we can have a whole other story about that. That's kind of why I call myself a scientific creative, like and having like two sides that help. My attention to detail that I had to learn being a biology major has only helped me be a very meticulous creative. And when I am producing, and you can actually, because we work together so many times, when I send out things to the cast, it's very like specific. And when I hire videographers or directors of photography to shoot for me, I'm able to tell them exactly what I'm looking for. So you can use other areas of education you got to help you be a better creative. But yeah, a dance education certification will really help you if you want to get into the schools or universities to teach dance and teach your choreography.
That's really cool. I'll tag behind Tiffany. I think the cool thing about the performing arts arena are the many umbrellas that's tied to that. So depending on what you want to do, young little leader, will kind of dictate what umbrella it is. So like Tiffany shared, teaching side, if you want to enter into professional level in college or elementary school, or maybe you want to teach middle or high school, there are different criteria that is connected to that. You can get a degree. maybe it's classical, maybe it's jazz, maybe it is fine arts in general, depending on where you want to go with that. But to again tag back on what Tiffany was saying, being a performing artist in general, there are many self-taught artists that have a really, really successful life. And I think it kind of depends on which about working with jams, we kind of highlight a balance of the educational side and then also what we call the professional artist side of that. So maybe you may not have all of the credentials just yet. Maybe you want to be a working professional artist in your every, or maybe you want to enter into auditioning for Juilliard or Jackson University or in any of those schools. Is that you consider with that? But I would like to say, I think everyone on the panel can agree that all of the credentials is not a, it won't block from being successful in that. Like it's not necessarily a ladder or a hurdle that you would necessarily have to fight if that you're good at craft that you really, really. There are networks of so many amazing people that are there to support and to help and cultivate that part of what you would like to flourish in.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I want to just add one more piggyback off of Miss Tori. A way I think that that extra certification for education can help you is just because you don't want to waste time making mistakes that just by learning on the job, where if you went and took the time to learn it formally or know what the industry standard is, or making sure you're not getting underpaid because you never learned anywhere what you should be getting paid, is so much extra information. And I believe in doing anything in excellence. And so for me, like, because I started so late with this particular career path, I wanted that credential so that when I showed up somewhere, I know a little bit more what I'm talking about. I mean, I could have just made mistakes as I went, but I chose to get as much information as I could. And that's just what worked best for me. But definitely the biggest thing with any certification, doesn't matter how good you are, it matters how good you are to work with. So good work ethic and being professional will take you farther than any certification or anything else.
That's a whole word.
Teach you or find a mentor that wants to teach you because they see that, you know, you are trying to have it together.
I was gonna say that's a whole word right there. It doesn't matter how good you are, it's how good you are to work with. Yeah, that's yeah.
I stole that from Jennifer Hudson. I can't take credit for that.
Great. We'll go with.
I'll say even for comedy, there are no classes that you have to take or any educational background. They are starting to offer classes now at colleges, but most people I know, it's self-taught. It's something that you have in you anyway. You have it in you, and but ways that you can develop it is there are different writing classes. Maybe you could take writing classes. There are different workshops that they have that can teach you how to develop a joke, how the start and the end of it, what it should look like, the outline of it. And a lot of people I know take improv classes because improv helps you keep on your toes. So even if you mess up, you can correct it and the audience wouldn't even know. It helps you think quick. So that could be some of the classes you can take, or also watching comedy, watching comedians, clean comedians, of course.
Yeah, I was gonna say same thing as Jen with poetry and spoken word. There pretty much is a low barrier of entry where you don't have to have a degree or anything of that nature, but obviously you can major in creative writing and poetry and things of that nature in college. The University of Wisconsin actually offers what's called the First Wave Scholarship, which is a full tuition scholarship for individuals that would like to pursue a career in poetry, spoken word, hip hop, things of that nature. Here in Tampa, we've actually been fortunate to send 3 of our students here to Wisconsin, where they've gotten their degree and graduated from the First Wave program. So on the formal side, you got those opportunities. But for us, what we found is that connecting locally, from a youth standpoint, we've been very fortunate to connect with Ebony Payne English in Jacksonville and the great work that she's doing with young people there. And so the good thing is that for all of our elementary, middle, and high school students, you can get started right now. As far as with, if you want to get into poetry, if you want to get into comedy, if you want to begin to have a platform for those talents, you don't have to wait. You can actually get involved in those things right now.
That's excellent. All right, you ready to read your question?
What was your favorite subject in school? Was an indicator of your current profession or passion?
I'll reread it for you all. What was your favorite subject in school, and was that an indicator of your current profession or passion?
So my favorite subject was English because Miss Tori was terrible in math. Until I had to fight with the idea that there's no math without music theory and all of that. There's no, so it will follow you, young people. You still need to, your addition and subtraction. But English was a love for me. I love to write. And that kind of translated into writing music and journaling, like Miss Nikki talked about. I had so many journals. I still have many journals to this day. And I have dry erase boards and Post-its and big old pieces of paper that's all over my walls now, even at home, where if I have a thought or if I write something down. And I think it was a big indicator for me because there's no singing and articulating with that without writing. You have to learn how to get verses and write hooks and understand what these different things are with the English language. So creative writing in English was Miss Tori's thing.
So this is a great question, and part of the reason why is because oftentimes your favorite subject isn't always your strongest subject. So you can be, so for example, for me, I was strong in math, but it wasn't my favorite subject. So I was good at math, but that wasn't something that necessarily interests me. It was just something that, it was a gift. It came natural to me. But my favorite subject was actually history. And so it was something that I was interested in. I had great history teachers that could really teach between the lines of telling stories. And what I found is that history was so closely related to English because of how they chronologically would tell stories and how those stories led to policies and different things that were done. So what I realized for me, looking back, is that my love for history informed my love for being able to share my experiences in a storytelling format. So what you'll find is oftentimes that your favorite subject or the thing that you're interested in, you're more willing to work harder in it because it's something that you're interested in. So don't think that just because you're strong in something that's something that you're going to do full force. It may just be a part of your skill set that's going to be used to help you build a livelihood and a career, which is great. But the thing that you're interested in and what you're passionate about, you may have to work at it. As Miss LaTavia was saying, it's something that you're going to have to work hard in order to get good at it. And don't be afraid of that.
My favorite subject, Lauren, it started out being math until I got to algebra, and then I didn't like math anymore. But I always liked English. I love words. So it was always English and writing and vocabulary, things of that nature. I just love words, and I love, even now if I read a book and I see a word and I don't know what it means, I go look it up. And I like to know one of the things I like about comedy is you can use one word, but if you can switch, I love looking up synonyms to see how else I could say a word. So like I could say talk, or I could say communicate, converse, or we verbally exchange. So I like to find different ways to say things. I like words, so definitely English for me.
Yeah, that's good. I love
I
that,
guess I
Jen.
would say, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I love that what Jen just shared. I was the spelling bee champ for middle school 2 years in a row. And I had been
Me
given
too.
the opportunity to do it in
Fourth grade, King's
Yes.
Trail.
Miss Nikki,
Every
you sounded like you
time.
couldn't wait for a chance to tell us that. You had that locked and loaded, boy. You was waiting.
That is a fun fact. I'm here for it.
No. Spelling bee.
Don't be
I got
my comment. Nobody got time for that. But for me, I love words. Like from early on, my mom would challenge us, and for me, like it was in-home spelling bees. We would play stuff like, oh God, what's the name of it? Oh, I can't think of the name of it. Outburst. Just different games that were word and vocabulary driven. And my mom sparked that love. Like I just want to keep reiterating. It started at home for me. My mom just developed that passion. And so when it came time when I qualified for the spelling bee in 7th grade, I did really good. I didn't go as far as I wanted. In 8th grade, I went to the county finals, and I was super, excited. But it was my mom who practiced with me, like every day. She had my little Scripps Howard book, and all right, spell such and such. Okay, all right. So thank you, Jen, for bringing that up. My favorite subject, was spelling. We have spelling in middle school and high school, but it really was spelling. It was vocabulary. It was wordplay. It was synonyms. It was antonyms. It was all of that. So just look for those. And I wanted to also kind of throw in as a special education educator. And Jen has a really awesome, I don't want to call it talent. It's part of her. She's an educator as well. I'll let her speak to that.
I'm sorry, I missed the end of that.
She said she's going to let you speak to that. I think she's talking about your sign language.
Sign language, yes. So I teach sign language. Okay, I was teaching it for
but as part
a
of
daycare 4 and 5 year olds.
Lost my whole train of thought.
And I just love the way they absorb it so quickly. I don't know. I took it as my foreign language, just to have a foreign language in college, and I fell in love with it. So to know that you can fully communicate with just your hands is amazing to me. So yeah, that is something else that I do. I teach sign language.
Well, that's exciting.
Super cool. I was just gonna say I was a nerd in general as far as like I was valedictorian and I was highest GPA leaving middle school. So all of the subjects were my favorite subject, but the one that I enjoyed the most, I think, was the sciences. But it's interesting; it kind of lends itself to being a creative because what I liked about science was the questions asking, the problem solving. Why does that do that? I was always entering the science fair, entering the conventions where you can invent things. Like that was a part I love, and I feel like that makes sense that it was like the more creative aspect of things because I ended up, being a creative. So you just never know what piece of a certain subject interests your child, and so if they say they like science, ask them why. If they say they like English, ask them why, and that might give you more information about what they might want to do in the realm of arts and aesthetics.
Thank you. Thank you.
My favorite.
In there. I'm sorry, LaTavia.
Oh no, I was just going to answer the question. But go ahead.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I, like Tiffany, was just a nerd overall. So I loved every subject. It was nothing really that outside of math. Once I started like Jen, going up a little bit, it was like, that's not really my thing. As long as I can count money, I think I'm good. And I actually wanted to be a neurosurgeon. So the things that I wanted to do, like the things that interested me in high school, I don't think that they kind of correlate to what I do now. But yeah, I was a little nerd, so.
Team blurred.
For those of y'all listening, Miss Tiff and Miss LaTavia were the ones messing up the grading curve for everybody else.
Hello.
Thanks.
Hello.
I
I'm still doing that right
taking the
now.
papers home and grading them for my teachers, so yes.
I just wanted to share as a special education educator. I was trying to get to that computer, all that stuff, so please forgive me. But I just wanted to highlight that different children learn in different ways. And so the arts are a medium in which children learn. You know, there are children that are visual learners. There are children that are kinesthetic learners. They learn through dance, through movement. So just keep that in mind, parents. Your child might not be the traditional learner. That doesn't mean that they have a learning disability. It could mean that the way that they learn hasn't been tapped into. So always keep that in mind. If you need more information, feel free to inbox us. You can inbox me or call me or text me or whatever, and I can give you a little more information. Keep that in mind that children learn in different ways. It's called various modalities. So you can look that up just to get a little more information on it. And keep that in mind when you are helping your child with homework or whatever. I remember when I was in a classroom, I could teach skip counting with music and putting it to a beat faster than I could doing it, rote memorization. It was easy. I could teach my little kindergartners like within a day versus something that it would take longer than a day, if we had done it with just rote memorization. So keep that in mind. Your learner may be different. They may not sit and just can take information in, they may need something visual to pair with what they're hearing. They need a movement to pair with what they're hearing. Keep that in mind. All right. We'll go with the next question, and that will be our last question, and then we'll close out. But we also have a treat. Wally B. Walter Gooden, he's gonna do one of my favorite poems by him, and I also want to take the time to highlight all of you. So all of them, I think they've been really modest on tonight, but these are some really, really, really accomplished individuals. Walter has coached his team to, is it Bold New Voices, I believe it is.
Brave New Voices.
Brave New Voices, I'm sorry. But he has coached into National Slam, and these are teams that he has coached to National Slam events, and they are placing. So that is an awesome accomplishment for him. For Tori, Tori is an accomplished musician and a recording artist and just a wonderful person. But her and her husband have a wonderful group called Truthful Justice. I actually was part of one of their videos years ago. So they are accomplished in their own way and love them. Miss Jenn she shared it, but I want to highlight it again. Jenn is a comedian, but she's also a radio personality, and she's just kind of taken our city and probably our nation by storm. Like, she is a force, and she has so much integrity. Like, I love her because she just maintains this integrity and this character in everything that she does. She's a giver. She does a lot of what we do on her end. She does a lot of community service. So she's not just trying to get people to follow her. She's trying to teach people how to love on other people in what she does. She doesn't just do comedy. And she is a sign language teacher, an ASL teacher, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one of her, I think, hidden talents. She's also a vocalist. So I've heard her sing. She'll share.
Yes, she is.
She's a vocalist. Tiff, she has her performing arts link up. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, she used to be a massage therapist, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
One of my many hustles getting that first degree.
But just, accomplished, a dancer, an actress, all that. And then LaTavia has been on national platforms, the Essence platform. She has been the makeup behind certain campaigns for Revlon, for Cream of Nature. One of them was my cousin that she did, but a lot of those faces that you see on their campaigns for Cream of Nature, she's responsible for the makeup behind that. So these are not just, your everyday, run of the mill people. And there's nothing wrong with everyday run of the mill. I'm one of those people. But these are just some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. And I am so elated to have shared this opportunity with you all, that you all agreed to share with us everything that you are, everything that, well, you didn't give us everything, but thank you so much for just sharing with us on tonight. So I don't even know if we'll go to the last part. So we'll just close up and then we'll get to our poem. And this happens to be one of my favorite poems by Wally. It's called God Gave Me Girls. But before we go there, I want all of you to just take a quick second to tell everyone how they can find you if you have any kind of projects coming up that they can be a part of, and how can they be a part of that, any kind of support, anything. So take a moment to share how you can be found and what you got going on.
Okay. Before I say that, I want to say, because none of us really tapped on it. Definitely, Wally did, as far as saying, you can start with your children now, but I want to say it's important to look into competitions. There are a lot of them for students that they don't have to pay anything. Like I've been fortunate enough to be screened in many film festivals, and there's always categories for students, for children, in dance competitions as well, if they have choreography, or if they want to start a YouTube channel, because YouTube has like settings that you can know that this is a child and things like that. So definitely do your research as parents to see what's already out there. There's so many, like I said, screenwriting competitions for kids, writing competitions for kids. So definitely take advantage of those free places for them to get feedback and to get practice doing what they do. Because it's one thing doing it for your family, but to actually get out there and be around other kids that are like you, that environment can really just get them even more excited about it. So I just wanted to make sure I said that. As far as me, all my social media is MissDevotedTiff. I am shooting next month a project called Love Letter to My Dark Skin. So if you are an adult, or if you have a child that has dark brown skin and they want to be a part of that project, just hit me up, because in addition to the on-set shooting, we will be weaving in images, because it's about imagery for me, and just wanted to show those images where if you're a dark-skinned child, you can look and see, oh, there was a project out here that was completely people my hue, and I don't think I've ever seen it, so that's why I wanted to create it. So if your child wants to be a part of that, definitely you can contact me through Miss Nikki, or just find me MissDevotedTiff.
Thank you.
Really cool. I just want to say thank you, Miss Nikki and Miss Lauren, for having me come on here. Thank you so much. I think this is my first panel setting. I had a really good time with all of you amazing people. So for me, social media handles is the Tori People on Instagram, Facebook. So you can catch me on there. And then also with Juvenile Justice, we have a page out there as well. If any parents are in the area of Jacksonville that has 4th through 11th grade kiddos that just looking for somewhere for them to be creative, after school, you can just shoot me an email. Miss Nikki, you have my information, my email. And I'd love to meet you all, have to get them woven in, get them, placing music or the visual arts side of it. So just reach out to me at any time. The meeting.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you, Miss Nikki and Lauren, for providing us with this opportunity to share our gifts and our passions. For me, I can be found on all social media handles as Fabulous Faces. Also, for booking, it's www.fabulousfacesmakeup.com. And if you have any young girls who are interested in makeup in the beauty industry, definitely reach out to me. I do offer mentorship for young girls. I'm always looking for young girls to come and actually take part in the day of a day in the life of a makeup artist, so they can really see the ins and outs, photo shoots and things of that nature. So definitely, I'm open, and reach out to me. I would love to be a part of sharing my gift with the next generation.
Thank you so much, Miss Nikki, for having me. Thank you, Miss Lauren. You were wonderful. You can find me, Jenn Weeks, on Facebook and Instagram. And again, just like LaTavia said, if any parent, if you feel like your child may want to get into comedy and you kind of need some guidance, or you have any questions for me, please reach out to me on either Facebook or Instagram. I would love to help, because a lot of children, most of the open mics are 18 or older or 21 or older, say they don't have that outlet. So if I could help in any way, I definitely will.
Well, thank you, Miss Nikki, and thank you, Miss Lauren. Miss Lauren, I look forward to seeing you on stage with your jokes very soon. I will be keeping an eye out. I can be found on most social media outlets, specifically Facebook and Instagram. Facebook at Walter Wally B. Jennings, Instagram at Wally B. Jennings. Also, just launched a brand new website, www.walterwallybjennings.com. Parents, feel free to get in contact with me no matter where you are in the United States. I am a part of a nationwide system of youth platforms. So no matter where you are, wherever you are hearing this, if you are interested in getting your child involved in poetry and spoken word, if I do not know someone directly in your city, I'm pretty sure that they are only one phone call away. That's my passion, is to help young people get connected and partner with parents on getting them aligned in things and involved in activities that are involved in their path and in their purpose. So however I can help do that, I make myself available for that. As far as upcoming projects, my wife is an artist as well, and we just recently launched a project called Mouth of the Mural, where we are partnering with other poets, both adult and youth, in the city of Tampa, and getting them to write poems about various murals around the city, and recording those and streaming that content. So very excited about that. And we'll be launching that. As far as the first viewing will be the last Monday in the month of January. And so really excited about that. For more information, you can go to mouthofthemural.com.
Right. All right. For us, that is basically it. You can find us on at LittlePeopleServing. On Instagram, you can type in Little Hands Big Hearts. On Facebook, you can go out to our website, LittlePeopleServing.org. And also, we are participating this year, Tuesday. We are an organization that believes in the principle of generosity. Most of what we do to help our little people learn that servant leader lifestyle and mindset and culture is through giving. So we are soliciting your support, donations, not just you all, just our audience. Donations, in-kind donations, monetary, just to help us continue doing what we love to do, and that is raising the next generation of servant leaders. So on December 1st, it is Giving Tuesday. If you are so inclined, we would love and be so grateful for you to give into and sow into Little Hands Big Hearts. And there's more information on our website as to how you can donate and where you can donate and all of that. So like I said, www.littlepeopleserving.org for more information. And with that, that's the end of our segment. And I will ask Walter Wally B. Jennings will grace us with this lovely poem that I've loved it ever since I heard it. And I actually had the opportunity of teaching. I didn't really, she wasn't my student, but she was the class that I worked in when I lived in Tampa. His oldest daughter, and I think she's getting ready to graduate this year, actually, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's correct.
So without further ado, God Gave Me Girls by Walter Wallaby Jennings.
Thank you so much. And of course, this is going to be dedicated to you, Miss Lauren. So I hope you enjoy it. And so he tells me, upon hearing the news that I'm about to have daughter number 2, he says to me that real men make men. And since I can't seem to pass on my Y chromosome, then I must not have what it takes to train one, let alone make one. He says all of this while watching me tutor his son. Algebra, combining like terms. Learn the value of X and Y by isolating the variable to one side, and I can't lie. Secretly, it does hurt. Because a man's worth can't often be tied to his ability to procreate males, regardless of whether or not he stays. And honestly, every man dreams of having a son one day. Someone to carry on his last name and somehow make up for all the mistakes he made, but God gave me girls. And since I believe in destiny and not fate, I have to trust that God planned it this way. I'm just not always sure why. Maybe he wanted me to know what it was like to be on the opposite sides of the games I used to play. I mean, I used to hear him a lot. But when did you ever think about a girl's father before you took her out? What it must have been like to be in his shoes and the fact that you could be him one day. Or maybe because the way the world is headed, God knew that I'd bring my daughters up to be strong women. Or maybe he just wanted me to be thankful for what I was given. Because how many times have you gotten exactly what you asked for and then regretted that you asked for it? How many times were you absolutely certain that if you got the exact person you wanted, you'd be happy? Only to realize you keep picking men that remind you of your daddy or women that remind you of your mother and the qualities you would like to see in them, in him or her. The first relationship that we ever have with a person of the opposite sex is with our parents, regardless of whether they are present or absent. And since God gave me girls, I'm charged with setting a good example and to handle my business, regardless of what the situation is. See, that's what real men do. I aced Algebra 2 because I always knew how to find the true value of X and Y. Isolate boys and girls to opposite sides, and you'll find that although their needs are different, their values are equivalent, congruent with the father's influence. And I use my patience to keep the equation balanced. So if you think it takes more talent to train your son, talk to me when your child runs up to you asking if they're matching because they were dressed by their mother. And when it comes to fashion, they don't really trust her. Not like they trust their daddy. Get at me when you spend your Friday evenings greasing your child's hair with a jar of Sulfur 8 and then spend 2 hours trying to get the part in the middle of her hair straight. Holla at me when you got to take your child to the restroom in public, but girls can't touch nothing. So you have to hold her up over the toilet seat and then pray to God that you do not get hit with pee. Tell me you know the theme song to Hannah Montana, Dora the Explorer, a High School Musical. And then and only then can you relate to what I'm going through. But until then, I will be waiting on your son on the front lawn with a shotgun, a bathrobe, church socks, and house slippers. Just so he remembers that anytime he takes out Charmian or Simone, they are never really alone. So yeah, player, bring them back home the same way that they left. Because when God gives girls, he gives us the best.
Thank you. I think y'all can see why that's one of my favorites by him.
I have 3 daughters.
Dope.
So to have 3 daughters, that's very special. It's a really special piece.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
LaTavia is the mommy of an awesome daughter as well. So I think this kind of hits home for all of the parents, but also all of us daughters that are daddy's girls as well, you know. So thank you, dad girl or girl dad, hashtag girl dad.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Ms. Lauren, did you like the poem?
Right. So that is it. We thank you all for joining us tonight. I thank my co-host. She's been trying to hold a smile all night. I told her to smile. She has tried her hardest.
You did great, Lauren.
She did so good.
I'm so proud of her, my girl. But thank you all for joining us. I appreciate you. I hope that the viewing audience has gotten something out of tonight. I know you have. I don't hope that you have. I know you have. And what I do hope is that you apply it, that you take this information and you learn how to just become more intentional about your little person's or even your not so little person's future and how you plan for it, because we can't, we're not in a position to stumble upon anything at this point. We need people who are being positioned now for later. So just keep that in mind, and we wish you a good night. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you, Miss Nikki.
Thank you.